Hello world of YouTube and welcome to an announcement I never thought I'd be making. But I started a Patreon, and I know what you're thinking. You don't have the audience size to justify having a Patreon. What the hell is wrong with you? Well, you're kind of right in that regard. I didn't plan on starting a Patreon until much later on down the line, if at all, because I have seen my viewer base slowly, steadily grow, and I figured if I wanted to make this any sort of monetary gain from me for any reason, it wouldn't be until I was at like Hannah's or Crash's level of notoriety. But ever since Patreon came to be, I saw that as a more viable business venture than using YouTube ad revenue. Mostly because ever since, YouTube's been around, it's always been an inconsistent platform, whether it be because the site's going through some mass issues, they're going through some design changes that nobody likes, and then the adpocalypse happened, and it's always been a mess. So that's why I've never monetized anything, because my content has always been kind of reliant on copywritten material, and I know that YouTube has never understood what fair use is, so I've never sought it as a viable business opportunity for myself. The reason why I never joined a network when those things were really huge, even though I had offers, is because people saw it out for me from networks for a certain thing, and I didn't want to potentially have them try to nail me down for one thing. When you guys know me, I like doing a bunch of shit. I wanted to be able to make the stuff I wanted to make on my terms. However, Patreon seemed like a good idea. I just never had the follower base to justify it, like you guys are pretty aware of. But Patreon put me in a little bit of a sticky situation. They announced recently that they were going to be rolling out these changes to new Patreon creators who decide to use the site. It was like a new tier system, and it involved like weird fees and stuff. I didn't want to be a part of that. So I set one up now before those changes roll out, so that way I can just have a simple Patreon. It's very small scale. I don't have any huge tiers or anything. It's all very small, very minimal, because I realize my scope and don't want to overshoot any sort of tier reward perks or anything like that. Hey, as I'm filming this, I got a new patron. Thank you. Matthew Caveat Zealot. That's awesome. This video is going to go over the tiers that I have and lay out what they're going to be about. So, right now I have 4 tiers. As of filming this video, I have 4 tiers and one goal in mind. And they're all really simple, really straightforward. So let's boil it down. The first tier I have is the obligatory $1 Patreon tier. And what that's going to give you is participation in viewer polls, which won't just be exclusive to Patreon, but it'll be a place for patrons to come together, help contribute to the site, and I will take those polls into more consideration than I will any other polls that I put out there, because they are direct supporters of the channel. And later on in the month, when I get video editing shit together, credits, names will be in credits, all that sort of stuff. The typical thank you Patreon tier stuff. Second tier is the obligatory early access tier, which is $2. And what that gets you is early access to certain videos a couple days before they drop. Every creator has a tier like this. Mine's no different. If you go there right now, as of filming this video, you will get access to the Let Me Tell You About that comes out on Thursday. So, if you want to see the next Let Me Tell You About, which will be on the Prodigy's Fat of the Land, join the Patreon in the $2 tier, and you get access to that, along with any other sort of video I decide to premiere on there before I put it on here. You'll also get access to the polls and all that sort of stuff that you get on the $1 tier. The next tier is the $5 tier, and is the return of the listening party. Now, I'm not going to make them Patreon exclusive, but what I can do is use Patreon to do listening parties for albums that YouTube won't let me. So, say I want to do Speeding Bullet to Heaven. I can do it on Patreon when I can't do it on YouTube. If I can find an album that's like on Bandcamp, that's another really ambitious project that I can do a listening party for, I'll do it on here. Because again, I like giving everybody content, but if I can get stuff like that made on a platform like Patreon, I'll do it. And what that tier gets you is access to the Discord that I've made specifically for listening parties, where we can get in there, we can talk about times that I'll try to do once a month, where I'll sit down with you guys, we'll coordinate a time and listen to any sort of weird, notoriously shitty record, and I'll roast it like I did on my Chris Brown stream, which if you join that tier right now, you'll get access to that lost Chris Brown stream. I put it on Vimeo. It's up there. It's ready for you guys to see. It's only available to be seen if you join the $5 tier. It's a private video. So there you go. But it's on there. It's ready to be viewed. And any past that are Patreon exclusives will only be viewable on that tier. For that tier and any tier above that. The next tier is a little bit of a specific one, but I'm going to be doing one of those Patreon review shows. Not like Crashes, where it's current records. That's still going to be free. But there's an album, say, I missed a couple years back, or there's a classic that nobody talks about that you think I should talk about. That's what that tier is for. It's $15. It's a lot. I get that. It's the highest priced tier here. But I feel like if you invest in that tier, that means you genuinely feel like I should discuss it. There's a couple caveats. No stuff for listening parties, only because that's going to be a really intimate sort of feeling thing. I'd rather do that with the group, with the people in the Discord, rather than just sit here and talk about it solo. And if it's like a discography review candidate, I probably won't do it. If you request an album, I'll get with you if it falls under one of those things and we can work it out. If it's an album I've done for a discography review and you want to see if I have updated feelings on it, that's chill. That's chill with me, or any record that I've already reviewed for some reason. That's also chill. But any older record, totally for that tier. It's capped at 20, just because I'm thinking big-ish with that tier. And so I'm capping it at 20 just so it doesn't interfere with everything else I have going on the channel. Like, I already have all of these segments, and I do want to make this Patreon show like once or twice, in a month's time, depending on how many requests I have versus what else I have going on. I might do it listening log update style, or I might do just a titular video for each record. I haven't worked that out yet, but I'm going to be doing those type of requests as well. And I have a goal. My one goal in mind is if I get $200 a month, if I reach that cap somehow, with the tiers I have, I feel like that's feasible with the audience reach I have. I'm going to put together that cooking series that I mentioned in my vinyl update video for the Deltron record that I have from Record Store Day. I'm going to make those recipes in like a mini series. I'll do like a recipe an episode. And the reason why that's kind of a stretch goal is because money for ingredients, any tools I might need, any stuff like that, anything that I would have to spend extra for that's what that money's going to go towards eventually. That's what this type of stuff would go towards anyway. Like extra stuff like that, if I need to get a replacement microphone or a better camera because I'm using my phone. I've been running my channel off of a phone and a Chromebook since I got back into it back in 2017. And so if I want to take this seriously, I need to get better equipment. Not that this isn't working for me, obviously. I've been making the shit I've been making, but any money I get, even though I'm putting money into it, like I said, later this month I'm buying streaming stuff and all that sort of stuff, this will just help buy me more things to make my channel nicer, my videos nicer. And that's all the Patreon's there for. I appreciate the support you guys give regardless, whether it be likes, comments, anything like that, subscriptions, all that sort of stuff. I appreciate it. I just wanted to avoid any complications that the platform of Patreon would give me if I were to get one later on down the line. Either way, I thank you for the support. If you want to check out the Patreon, it'll be linked below in this video and all other videos going forward. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. I have been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lots of situations, and I'll see you another day.